Alrighty, welcome to the channel and welcome to this battle report of Warhammer 40,000. Today it is the Tormentors, Chaos, have come down and they will be facing off against Gib Smasher, who has returned for more shenanigans. We're at Steve's house today. Bit of new terrain, you haven't seen this before. This is terrain we've been playing on for years and years, with the exception of the battle mat, which is from P-Work Games. It's a nice dark one, good for the two armies that are on the table today. You can see we've set up outbursts of trees here. There's three objectives in the middle there. I'll explain those as we go along. A bit of a ruined city here, Imperial presence all over the table, rocks, craters. It's a battle-torn planet, and this is where we'll be fighting today. So, as I said, here with Steve and his Tormentors. You saw them face off against the Necrons in an earlier battle report, and we'll take a look at those armies now. It is 2,300 points of Chaos versus Orks. Okay, so this is 2,300 points of Orks. This is Gib Smasher's Skull Crackers. Gib Smasher is of course back again as the warlord of this army. He is a warlord in mega armor. He has the claw and custom shooter. Obviously his little sidekick there, the Squig, he does not have a place in the game currently, but he follows him around no matter what. Second in the, actually my army is made up of a battalion and a spearhead detachment. So in the battalion we have Gib Smasher, of course, and the weird boy there, still yet to be named. There's a lot of suggestions come through. I haven't chosen one yet, but we'll just call him Weird Boy for this game. Okay, so that's the two HQ choices for the battalion. Over to elites, I've got some knobs. Kitted out as you see, there is a boss knob in there with Power Claw, and there is a Combi Scorcher in there as well. And there are 7 in that squad. Over to the other part of the elites we have Tooth Puller. He will be following the boys around, fixing them up as much as possible. So that's the elite choices. And then of course the troops. The standard loadout for my armies, as you've seen, is 3 full squads of 30 boys, all with 3 big shooters and a knob with claw in each of those. As you can see, there's an extra knob at the back. He's filling in for a boy. I'll pull him off when one of those gets killed. Okay, and heavy support for the battalion is 3 custom mega cannons in one little squad there. Over to the spearhead detachment, I have 2 big mechs as the HQ choices. Obviously you can see, I apologize, I have blue tacked some bits to the back of them for this game. Okay, so the taunt's already started. I apologize, I've gone against the name of this channel and put some unpointed models on the table. But anyway, hopefully they do well. I haven't played big mechs in my armies before with custom force fields, so we'll see how they go. I think it's going to be a good bit of protection for the heavy support choices, which are going on to those here. We have 6 killer cans, all armed with claws and rockets. We have 2 Death Dreads armed with extra claws, no shooting weapons on them. And we have, of course, the Gorkanaut, standard arming for that. And that is 2,300 points of Gib Smasher's Skull Crackers. We'll go on and see Steve's Tormentors. I know there's a bit of an addition or 2 since we last saw them. So let's have a look.
Okay, this is my Chaos Tormentors using the Night Lord's Legion trait. I've got a battalion, and leading the force, I've got my new HQ, Lord Deverax, the Wraith of Torment. He's got the black claws of the Black Hunt and jetpack. Behind him is his elite guard, the Warp Talons. They're just stock with their lightning claws. Terminator squad. We've got a sorcerer in Terminator armor. We've got a Terminator squad with combi bolters, a combi flamer, and a heavy flamer. 12 cultists armed with auto guns and close combat weapons. A Havoc squad with 4 missile launchers. Got a Chaos Predator with las cannons. Hellbrute 1, he has a Reaper autocannon and Power Scourge. A Chaos Land Raider with las cannons and a Havoc launcher. Hellbrute number 2 with a Reaper autocannon, Power Fist and Heavy Flamer. A squad of Chaos Space Marines with close combat weapons and a flamer in there, I think, and led by an Exalted Champion with a Power Axe. A squad of Chaos Space Marines with bolters, led by a champion with a Power Sword. Chaos Rhino with a Havoc launcher, and finally a squad of Chaos Spawn.
Alright, so beautiful army. So the additions we haven't seen before are the, what are they called? The
Warp Talons, and the Lord.
Yeah, okay.
Lord Devil Axe.
Devil Axe, right. Good name. Scary. We'll see how he goes on the table. Beautiful army. You've seen it before, as I said. We'll see how they go on the table against the Orks this time. Heavily outnumbered, but very, very elite and powerful army. We'll see how they go. Okay, so armies are deployed and ready to go. The deployment is hammer and anvil today, so lengthwise playing down this table. Standard 6x4 on the table today. Chaos have deployed over on this side. A lot of the units are actually inside of transport. So over here we've got the cultists, one of the dreads there, the ghosts here, Land Raider there. Inside of that is one of the champions, I think, one of the Exalted Champions and the Close Combat Marines. Over here, the new Lord there in the terrain there. Over here, Havocs up with a good firing line down the table. The Predator in there with the las cannons, and then another dread and another squad inside that Rhino there. So there's still a lot of units yet to come on the table. There's the Terminators and the Talons as well to come on, as well as the, I think the Sorcerers still yet to come on as well. So still a few units there. However, all the Orks are deployed. Every single model is on the table for the Orks right now. So troops over here, there's the Weird Boy. We've got the cannons there with a firing line through the forest here. The Gorkanaut there as well. Troops all throughout here. We've got the HQ choices in here. And there's a couple of 9-inch bubbles. So we've got one of the big mechs there and one over here as well. So those 9-inch bubbles will be protecting these units as they advance forward. You've got the killer cannons all across there as well. So every Ork is on the table. It is an absolute horde facing up against the Marines here, which are few currently on the table. So we'll go on to turn 1. Okay, so Steve finished deploying first. He's got fewer units, so he gets +1 to his roll. Go for it. That becomes a 3. Let's see if the Orks go first today. Oh. That's a 3. That's another roll off. What's it going to be? +1 to this. This is Steve's roll. Okay, what was that?
3.
It's a 3. Okay, right.
4.
Hey, it's a 6. Orks are going first. All right. So we'll head on to turn 1. As a addendum, the Weird Boy has Duck Jump as his psychic power. Psychic powers for you, Steve?
We've got Warp Time, I think.
Warp Time, yep.
And the Slaanesh one, which I can't remember. It basically gives you feel no pain.
Okay, right, yeah. So it's almost like Catalyst or something?
It's like Delightful Agonies or something.
Okay, right. Cool. Anyway, you'll see that happen throughout the game. Anything else to add? Oh yeah, objectives. Okay, so a bit of a custom mission today. Down the center line of the table here, we have 3 objectives, 1, 2, and 3. So there's an ammo dump, there's a few bits in there, I think some nukes or something, and over here some fuel tanks and other things. So these 2 outer objectives will be worth 2 points each, and the way that you secure objectives is per turn basis. So if you hold an objective for a turn, you get the points. So these 2 outside objectives are 2. Okay, so this center one actually is worth whatever the game turn is. So come turn 4, it'll be 4 points if you hold that objective. So you're getting points per turn, so it's a mad rush to the center for these. There's no reason for holding back this game. Kind of favors the Orks a little bit, but having said that, the Chaos Marines have a lot more staying power. So once the Orks get in there, they're going to have to defend well. Otherwise, they'll get annihilated out in the open there. So let's go on to turn 1 for the Orks. Gib Smasher is pleased to be beating heads yet again. Let's see how many he can tally up this game. Right, turn 1 for Orks. Very, very predictable, but very, very cool. The entire force bar this squad here and the Weird Boy have moved forward. Everything's going forward. You can see the concentration is around the 2 big mechs. So there's 2 massive bubbles here of 9 inches. So I'm keeping everything within that 5+ invulnerable save because I know all these las cannons and Havocs down there with the missile launchers can easily strip away some of these wounds on these vehicles, the mechs. So all gathering around those bubbles there. Obviously the cannons didn't move, they'll stay there, and this squad here, not sure what to do with them yet. Could have advanced them up to take a couple of points here at the risk of being destroyed. So use the jump the next turn. With the new rules, we can't deep strike into anywhere but our own deployments on turn 1. So a little bit constricted there at this stage. So turn 2, we'll do something with them. But yeah, just moving up. I didn't advance with anything. I didn't want to outrun the mechs. So it's off to shooting now. There's not a lot to shoot. It's mostly just light arms fire down the range there. There's not a lot in view. The Chaos have swept in and they are hiding well. So we'll go on to shooting and see if we can get some rocket hits somewhere along this table. Okie doke, shooting phase for turn 1 Orks is now done. Not much happened, of course. This is Orks we're talking about. So the Gorkanaut did shoot through its Deathstorm Mega Shooter and the twin-linked big shooters, or 2 twin-linked big shooters went through to the Havocs there. A couple of wounds, but all saved. They are in cover there, so nicely done. Across here, this cannon here fired through to the Hellbrute here. Did not manage to wound it, even on a reroll with a stratagem. Actually, I might point out that I now have 8 left. Little counters on the top there. Steve has 9.
8.
You have 8 in total? 8 in total, okay, so we're equal now. The other cannon here shot through to the Hellbrute there and managed to take 1 wound off, and Steve failed the crazed roll, so no crazed Hellbrutes on the table just yet. Okay, so that's it for the Orks turn 1, just an advancement and a little bit of light fire. Waiting for the rest of the Marines to show up this turn, hopefully. Okay, so on to Steve's turn 1, the Tormentors, turn 1. Rightio, movement for turn 1, Tormentors has been complete. Not a lot of action happened, a bit of moving forward with the Cultists here. I think they've got a bit of line of sight and range, a few shots off at those boys there. The Spawn did move forward a little bit, still remaining behind cover there, smart. The Land Rover, the Land Raider. Some huge weapons on that Land Raider. The Land Raider moved forward, and it's got a line of sight up the table towards Gorkanaut and the various other targets up there. No movement from the Predator. However, over here, the squad of Bolter Marines did disembark, and the Rhino has moved toward them as well, and a bit of pivoting from the Hellbrute. All these chaos names. The Hellbrute. So, a little bit of shooting to come, a lot more than the Orks. We'll see how these 5+ invulnerables hold up. There's a lot of las cannons out there. There's what, a total of 8. 8 las cannons and 1, 2, 3, 4 missile launchers to come through at the Orks. Hopefully a few of them bounce off the fields. Otherwise, hopefully the armor holds up for another turn or two. We need to get close to these Marines. Let's see how they do in their shooting phase for turn 1. Rightio, shooting for the Tormentors went actually really well. Started off pretty pissy, so what happened, a few shots came through from these units here into the boys. Only one was killed, so I took off that ugly knob that was standing in for a boy there. So yeah, 1 loss there, so no morale to do. Over this side, all the shots from these units here did come through over to this boy squad here, and ended up taking out 7 of them. Still no morale test required over there. The Land Raider actually used its heavy bolters and Dirge caster? Havoc launcher, okay, at the boys as well, so that helped with those kills as well. Okay, shooting from the Land Raider came through at the Gorkanaut. Hit with all, wounded with 3, but I blocked all 3 of those with the Big Mech's custom force field, which is an excellent start. Unfortunately though, all of the shots from the Predator did come through, wounded. I didn't block any of them, and the Gorkanaut was absolutely destroyed. So all 18 wounds.
They're getting the Havocs.
Ah, yeah, okay. So, yeah, sorry, okay. So the Predator only took off 12 wounds, only. So he rolled really well there. So that was 3 las cannon hits went through. And then the Havocs, with their missile launchers, took out the last 6 wounds. Now, when I rolled for explodes, I rolled a 6. I decided to spend a command point to re-roll that and got a 2. So I did save these units from a terrible explosion. If you've ever seen the rules for the explosion, it is absolutely devastating. So
some grot threw himself on the reactor.
Yeah, that's right. They threw a blanket over it or something. I don't know. So yeah, so that is gone. So really good shooting turn from the Chaos on turn 1. No assaults to come through. Nothing came from reserves. I didn't point that out, but nothing came out of reserves for the Chaos. So they'll be coming in later on in the game. Smart, considering the new rules for Deep Strike. So it's Orks turn 2 coming up. A lot more action for them now that they're closer to the enemy lines now, and we'll see if we can get onto these objectives. Give Smash is not too happy about his mate, the Gorkanaut, being absolutely, utterly vaporized from lascannon fire this turn. So he's going to be looking to cause some pain to the Chaos this coming turn. Alrighty, Orks, turn 2. Okay, so Orks, movement for turn 2. Advance forward much further than I thought I would get this turn, so I've actually covered off all 3 objectives this turn. So boys did advance forward. It's the only squad that did advance, and so did the weird boy. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use the jump coming up. I'll have to decide after the shooting phase. Stayed stationary with the cannons, of course, and moved up with the remaining force in the middle. Obviously, with the big mechs, still covering all the units here with the 5 up invulnerable. So we'll see. Now I do have range coming up with all of the rockets from all these 6 cans down to the units there. There's not a lot of shooting here. Obviously the 2 dreads don't have shooting. It's just the boys, their cannons, and I'll be able to get some shots off on 6s against the guys here. Okay, so I'll have to decide what to do now with the jump coming up to the psychic phase. Not sure what to do. Okay, so I did decide to use that jump. I think it's critical at this stage to try and mitigate some of the lascannon firepower coming through. So they jumped all the way over to the back edge of the table here with a 9-inch charge to the Predator here. If I can get that charge off, they do get to re-roll, which is awesome. I don't think I can re-roll a re-roll, so I won't be able to use a stratagem to help them charge that. But hopefully that 9-inch comes through and we can silence that Predator for a couple of turns, hopefully. Alright, so we'll go into shooting. As I said before, we've got the cannons here. The boys are going to let rip with whatever's in range over here, and of course the rockets from the cans as well. Not sure what to go for at this stage, but yeah, we'll see. Shooting for Ork turn 2 coming right up. Alright, excellent shooting phase for Orks. I thought I'd never say that, but there it is, it's happened. Yeah, used the jump over to here. I declared all the shooting at the squad of Marines that was here. Took out half of them just with this squad, which is amazing. And then this reduced squad here actually ended up taking out the rest, except for the champion, who melted away with morale. So successful shooting phase there from those boys squads. Across here as well, the killer cans did fire through to the Hellbrute. He's now down to just 1 wound, so that's really good as well. However, he is still fully functioning, so that 1 wound can still carry him through his turn. What else shot? There was 1 big shooter that had line of sight through to the Hellbrute to try and take out that last wound, did not get it. These 3 cannons did fire across to the Land Raider. Unfortunately, only 3 wounds were taken off, only 1 got through the heavy armor there. Actually, Steve used stratagem in Midnight Clad, which is -1 to hit the Land Raider, so only 1 shot hit and went through. Okie dokie. Now, Steve has already, I've declared a charge here. Steve has already done the overwatch for the Predator against the boys here, and 1 Ork was turned into a fine firework of green and red dust. So we're just going to roll up now for the charge. I need 9, and I really need this. I really need it. Otherwise they're just fodder out there in the backfield there. Okay, so 9, and I get a re-roll as well. Ah! Maximum. Almost maximum. Good. Okay, so 11 inches. They're in. That is silenced this predator for the upcoming turn, and I'll keep them there as long as possible using their numbers as morale to keep them in place. So hopefully a couple of turns of keeping that predator out of action, and maybe take off some wounds in combat as well. We'll see. But that is that. I'll resolve this combat and then come back to you just before we hit turn 2 for Chaos, and we'll see some of their reserves arrive. Alrighty, look how good this is. Look how good this is.
It's not good.
The Orks made it in, of course. The Claw took off 5 wounds on his own, and then the first wave of 3 attacks each of these guys took off just 7 wounds on their own. So they still had 50 more hits to roll before they even destroyed it. It did explode. Steve rolled a 6 for explodes, but he realized his Lord was just there and used a stratagem to re-roll that and rolled a 1. So it has not exploded, but it has been destroyed. That is absolutely awesome. So plan's gone really well this turn for the Orks, and of course for the Chaos as well. On turn 1 they did really well. So let's see what Chaos can do on turn 2. They've got a lot of reserves to arrive. They've got the Terminators and the Talons as well to come in. And the Sorcerer as well. Okay. So, looking good so far. Good, brutal game. I like it. Let's go on to turn 2 for Chaos. Okay, movement for Chaos turn 2. Quite a lot going on here. So, Deep Strikers down here. Terminators have struck right down here, lined up as a firing squad towards the weird boy there. I think they're pretty pissed off with his powers last turn. And movement from the cultists as well, going to capture that objective there. They've got to stay there for a full turn, but they are within the 3 inches they need. Hellbrute did not move. He wants to shoot forward as well. And across here we have some more Deep Strikers. Interesting tactic going for the heavy firepower here. I guess he wants to keep his Land Raider very shooty. Okay, so the Talons, they drop down here. They're within 9-inch charge range there of the Grots. And the Psyker here, the Sorcerer, has jumped down as well. We were just discussing Deny the Witch. We haven't used it before in 8th edition, so within 24 inches of each other we can deny each other's powers potentially. So that is reserves covered. Over here the combat squad did disembark from the Land Raider, has moved forward towards the Orks there. The Lord, what's his name?
Good question.
Good question. Good question is his name.
I'll get to it, give me a second.
Right, so he has moved up, and the Hellbrute, which is on 1 wound, is still fully functional. Lord Deverax, the Wraith of Torment. That is his name, and he has moved up there. He's a little bit angry, let's admit. Over here, yep, the Hellbrute's ready to get in there as well. I think he's got a heavy flamer.
He does.
Yeah, there's a lot of flamers here. I think there's a flamer in that squad there.
Correct.
Yeah, a lot of shooties. The Wraiths, the Spawn, they did stay still as well. They did not move. But the Rhino came across. I think he's trying to get in the way from the advancing Death Dreads, who could easily take a Land Raider out. Small speed bump for them though, but it will slow them down a little bit potentially. So we'll go on to shooting for the Chaos. There is quite a lot to go into these boys here. I doubt they'll even survive the shooting phase, let alone the assault phase, but they've done a good job regardless. But yeah, we'll find out what happens in the shooting phase coming up now. Okay, Psychic phase for Chaos, turn 2, went off without a hitch. The Sorcerer cast Warp Time and what was it called? Delightful Agonies onto this squad here. So they moved up with the second movement phase because of the power to take on these guns here. I did not deny the Witch with the weird boy. Failed on both attempts as his rolls were really quite high. So these guys are looking in a bit of hurt. If he takes out the Gretchen, the guns are automatically destroyed. So that flank's in a bit of trouble. Moving on to shooting, the Weird Boy is gone. He got destroyed. There's a bit of a firing squad here from the units. They shared a bit of firepower with the Ork boys here and took out 1 or 2 there, but the Weird Boy was destroyed. And I think the Hellbrute here also applied a bit of damage as well to the Weird Boy. Moving over here, the Land Raider fired through. It's a bit of a hit and miss. Oh geez, bit of a hit and miss with his firing today. So the light guns went at the squad over here of boys, took out 4 of them, but the las cannons didn't manage to do too much. So the Hellbrute that was the Death Dread that was here actually only got 1 damage from the las cannons. Steve rolled pretty bad even with a re-roll with the damage, and this one only got 2 from there. But the Havocs with supporting fire from them did come through with the missile launchers and destroyed, took off the last wound just enough to get rid of that. Death Dread did not explode, and then took another couple of wounds off there. So he's on 3 wounds left on there. Right, a little bit of light fire coming from this. I don't think it did anything in the end. Just at the Orks over there. Over here, a couple of flamers did fire through to the boys. In total, with the pistols and the Hellbrute all firing through to that squad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boys were destroyed. So they're still a strong squad. About 18 boys left there. Not too bad, but going up to the assault phase now, they may be in a little bit of trouble. So that is the shooting and psychic phase for Chaos. We'll go on to assaults over here and see what the result is for that. Okay, so assault is over for the Chaos turn 2. Only turn 2, I can't believe it. We've been here for like 3 hours or something. It's only turn 2. Okay, so yep, all the Orks are gone from this side. So the entire squad was ended up being destroyed in combat. However, they did strike back. I used a couple of stratagem points to take over priority, and I took 3 wounds off of his lord, which is kind of cool. Came close to killing. He's got 2 wounds left. He made some lucky saves there. Yeah, all the Orks are gone from there, and over here the Talons were successful. And they came in, wiped out quite a few of the Gretchen, and then they all ran off, and the guns automatically destroyed because of that. So success over here, but they now find themselves in a little bit of a difficult position. A lot of Orks around there, but there's objectives to take care of here. So we'll go on to Ork turn 3. It's time to get serious. I think we're getting to a pretty good point of the game where blood's gonna just keep being shed. Yeah, these objectives are becoming pretty important, I think, now. I've held these 2 for 1 entire turn, so I get the points from those. And this one here is being held by the cultists currently. So I think the only thing we're not including in this game is First Blood, but Slay the Warlord and Linebreaker are in effect, so they are points to look out for as well. But we'll go on to Orks turn 3, movement phase. Okie dokie, Ork turn 3 movement. A little bit of a struggle to get the order right for moving these units forward. But what I've done here is I've diverted the Orc boy squad here. It's still a full squad. I think actually there's only one missing. Pain boys here, warlords there. They've all come forward and advanced. They're going to use the War rule to get into combat there. They can still shoot with their assault weapons, but they'll be hitting on 6s. Over here, this threat will be hopefully eliminated by the 7 knobs coming through there. I don't think I'll shoot, I'll just charge in. They'll be more effective in there. They did not advance, obviously. There's no warlord there to use the War rule. Over here, I then moved the Death Dread forward, and the Big Mech is behind him. He's going to try and save some wounds off of him. D3 wounds, that's 3 wounds, nice. So he goes down to only 2 wounds off. So he's got 6 wounds left. Good stuff. The Killer Cans and all the boys here and the Big Mech move forward as well. So I'm now, I've got 2 of those objectives still, so I'll be able to count those as mine and rack up some points this turn. And over here, I've now got this objective as well. And we'll see who survives. Terminators here, obviously, very difficult unit to kill, but we might be able to get a couple of them down in the assault phase. That is it for movement. We'll go into shooting. There is actually quite a bit of shooting to do. Hopefully effective. Most concerned about getting all these rockets into this Land Raider here. I think that's really key at this stage to get that Land Raider down to minimal wounds, destroyed if possible. So let's have a look, see what happens. Okay, so Orc assault, shooting and assault, sorry. So shooting was pretty poor. The Killer Cans only managed to hit once with in Midnight Clad rule, -1 to hit the Land Raider there, but failed to go through with a roll of 1 to wound. Shooting across the board, these guys did try and take off the last wound of the Hellbrute there, but failed, unfortunately. And a little bit of shooting across here at the cultists, which are now destroyed them in combat. We did a little bit of cheese. We made a little string of units up to the Pain Boy there, so we got a bit of protection. We charged into the cultists and then piled in to the Terminators there, and we managed to take out 2 of the Terminators in combat, and they took out 3 in return. Over here, the knobs did actually really well. They took out 3 in combat, and then 1 of the Warp Talons melted away due to leadership issues. Steve rolled a 6 for leadership and lost 1. So there's only 1 Talon left. After combat there, we did lose 1 knob as they fought back. So pretty good for the Orcs. We've now, at the end of this turn, we can say that we've scored 4 points in total. So that's holding this objective and that objective. This objective is worth 2 because it's turn 2 that we first captured it, and the point over there is worth 2 all the time. So there's 4 points racked up for us and none for Chaos so far, but the game has not ended yet. It is only midway through turn 3. So we'll go into Chaos turn 3 and let's see what they can do. A lot of nasty units still on the table. That Hellbrute's causing problems, which they always do for me for some reason, and this one is at full strength as well. So yep, let's see what they do. Oh no. I forgot about these. These things are nasty. They were blended so well into the terrain, I didn't even know they were there. Okay, so yeah, the spawn are active this turn. I can only assume they'll head in towards one of these units here and cause a lot of damage. Okay. Okay, Chaos movement for turn 3 is done. The Rhino, for some reason, has advanced towards the Death Dread. God knows why, but it's there. This is now remaining on 1 wound, has moved up towards there. I think No Guts, No Glory is going on there. Over here, I think the Land Raider stayed still. However, the squad, close combat squad, did embark into the transport. I have no idea why, because they could have easily foot slog across here. So Not sure, maybe protection from what, I don't know. Havoc stayed still. The Lord did jump and then ran through into this, I think just to give them the rerolls, the reroll bubble going on there. Over here, the Wraiths, or the Spawn as they're called, have advanced up along with the Hellbird as well, so those Orks are in trouble, but we'll see how they go. Apart from that, we'll go on to shooting for Chaos turn. Psychic phase. Okay. What are you going to cast over here?
I'm going to try cast. Probably do a bit of smiting.
Smite,
And
yeah.
I might do a bit of warp time on myself. I don't know if I can do it. I'll look it up.
All right, so you're going to do warp time on the sorcerer. All right, do it.
Oh, I might do smite first while I'm
Oh,
closest.
okay, against those guys. Yep.
What's that, 7?
We can call it 7. I have no idea.
We think it's 7.
Yep, go for it. Yeah, it's 6. Not quite.
Ooh.
You do have 2 rolls left if you want that. No, don't want it.
Warp time.
Warp time.
Pretty sure it's 6.
Yeah, 11.
Should have been my smite.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. That would have been D6 smites. Okay, yeah, so warp time cast against him. He's going to do another movement phase with his sorcerer, and then we'll go on to shooting for Chaos. Okay, so we were wrong. It's only 5 to cast smite. You guys probably all knew that, but we're noobs. So, D3 wounds. That's 3 wounds. Right, so that's a Nob dead and 1 wounded. I'll go ahead and get rid of one of them. Fleema can go. And another one is wounded. That one there. Okay, so now we'll go into shooting for Chaos. Righty, shooting for turn 3. Chaos, not too bad actually. A little bit of small arms fire going into the Orks here. Combination from the Hellbrute there, I think the Rhino as well, and the light arms from the tank here. Went into the boys, I think 4 of them were destroyed. The Land Raider did, however, shoot into the Death Dread and absolutely wiped it out, destroyed it outright. Did not explode, thankfully. And the rockets from the Havocs fired through to the Can squad and actually took out 2 with 1 missile each, which is pretty good. They're 5 wounds each, so he rolled a 5 and a 6 for damage, and I failed to protect them with the custom force field. They were taken out, so there's only 4 left. I say only, but yep, still a good effective unit. However, that firepower is still very effective on the Chaos side, so don't know what to do about that at this stage. Okay, we'll go into assaults. There is an ongoing assault here with the Terminators, but these assaulters are bound to charge in. Ongoing assault here. The Lord here, can he assault? No, he advanced, okay. Twice. Yeah, warp charge, so he advanced twice. He will not be charging in. And Hellbrute's charging in, I assume? Yep. Rhino charging in? Yeah, why not? Okay. So they're all going in. Alright, so it's going to be a bit of a fight this phase. Alright. Okay, so unfortunately I forgot to record the sound on when I was recording, but as you can see, all the Orks here were destroyed, except for the one Nob there. We did kill a Terminator in return. These Nobs here killed the last Talon and moved ahead. The Rhino and the Big Mech did no damage to each other. And over the other side of the table, these Orks destroyed the Hellbrute and only lost a couple themselves. Okay, Ork turn 4 is complete. I'll skip the movement shooting. Nothing happened in those, so the Nobs did come into the sorcerer here, and took off 4 of his wounds. Only got 1 wound left there. He retaliated, killed a Nob, and wounded another. Over here, the Pain Boy Tooth Puller, he came through to support the Nob that was here. Nob was destroyed in turn from the Terminator, and I killed the Terminator there. Gift Smasher. Oh, what a woeful turn it was for him. No damage at all going to the no damage going to the Hellbrute there. He rolled pretty poorly to hit, and then pretty poor to wound as well, but the Hellbrute then retaliated and took off a wound from Gift Smasher. So, not so good there either. Continuing on the bad news over here, the Killer Cans, they did fire through and took off 3 wounds from the Land Raider there. They charged into the Rhino, only did 6 damage with 16 attacks. Just with the 4 cans, they only hit with 2 of them. So pretty poor there. So Orks are all tied up along the midsection here. We do hold again these 2 sections. We've got more models than he does in the center there, and we hold that. We hold this objective over there as well. So we do get another 5 points this time because the turn number has changed for the center one, and over here is being held by no one currently. It's contested with 2 models on that one there. Okay, so going on to Chaos turn 4. It's looking pretty grim for the Orks, but at the same time their points are going up whilst their models are going down. So we'll see what the Chaos do turn 4. Okay, turn 4 for Chaos has been pretty good. Alrighty, so movement came across, Land Raider came down here. It's still got the cargo in there with the combat squad in there, but it did fire up over to the Killer Cans and killed one of them, and then the Havocs came across and fired into them as well and killed another one. These guys are wounded as well, but still holding that objective. Isn't too much of a problem. Over here, everything's dead. Steve's new Lord came through, matched up with Gift Smasher, but unfortunately cut him to ribbons, easily slicing through his armor and taking the last few wounds off him. So Gift Smasher is gone. Tooth Puller is gone. That was the ghost that came through, along with the 2 knobs that were here holding up the sorcerer there. So all of the Orks on this half of the table are gone. Only Orks left are the 2 Killer Cans here in the center objective, and a squad of boys here, which is a half strength or a little bit less than half strength over there on that objective. So it's turn 4. It's getting late in the day for us, and I have to call it. Steve gives me a questioning look. Yep, I'm going to have to call it there. I honestly don't think the Orks would survive another 2 turns. However, if we were going by points, I currently have 9. Then to add 3, 4, 5 more to that, so I would have had 14 points. So Steve would have had to have tabled me in at least 1 or 2 turns, depending on the roll of turns. But I don't think with all the Havocs still there, this Land Raider is still firing at full potential, and yeah, full squad of guys inside there. And of course, these ghosts are very, very quick, and the Lord, of course, with his jump back, very quick to get across the table. So I seriously just doubt that the Orks would have survived another turn or 2. So I'm going to concede this game. Another loss for the Orks. Other hand, thank you very much for the game, Steve. It's been a long time since we had a game. But it's good going against the Chaos. Very effective army.
Really, even until that turn.
Yeah. Really good balance of firepower in the Chaos. I really like it. They've got a lot of firepower. These guys just sit back and just pump out the wounds. The Land Raider, hard to deal with without getting into close combat with it. Maybe that was the downfall for the Orks. Stood back a little too long, maybe. Took too much punishment. Relied probably a little too much on the invulnerable saves from the big mechs, but having said that, still racked up the points. If I had the staying power, we would have been able to continue on and possibly have won the game through points alone. But that is the game. The Chaos have taken the day, and the Orks have eaten it once again. Gib Smasher will be back though. He's hungry. He needs a victory. He's had a bad run the last few months, so he's
coming soon.
yeah, new codex on the way, of course. Don't know when. Sometime soon, hopefully. We'll see an update for the Orks. But until then, thank you very much for watching. It's been a great game. Nice terrain, nice and dark and dank. Looks like Chaos had been here before, and looks like they're going to stay for a while now too. So they're very comfortable at home in this dark, dingy battlefield. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. This is Emperor's Crusade signing out.